Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of Self-Discovery Bootcamp. I want to thank everyone who's hopped on today and holding space for each other and checking in on the emotional spiral scale. If you didn't get a chance to come on the call today, make sure you head over to the spiritual baggage check and check in there. I wanted to review a little bit of last week, what we went through, and then we're going to dive into week 2. We did some emotional intelligence, learned about the way your energy flows through your chakras and how it can block it. We also did some emotional inventory. So we did this layout where you put out your darks and your lights and you claim something that you're going to let go of, and you claim something that is going to help you move forward to the next day. And that's what you do to practice gratitude. So we ended the week off with gratitude mindset. And then I asked you guys to go down into the group chat and just kind of share and connect with each other in the homework, the shadow work. So if you get a chance, go ahead in here and read that part, excuse me, and then you just click the week 1 homework, and it's all optional. You don't have to do that. But we're gonna hop into week 2, session 1, which is the Chakra Ascension. I'm gonna pivot over here. So this layout that you see here is the Chakra Ascension. I designed this maybe 2 months ago. And if you took the self-discovery workshop in 2020, you might see some correlation between the two. And I just had this download during my awakening of the divide and the parallels that people were missing. So I'm gonna zoom in over here, and we're gonna start at the bottom. If you see over here, it says door number 1 is your soul path. I talk a lot in this whole workshop of self-discovery about gardening and there being weeds in the garden. So all week last week, we just went through and I asked you guys to name the weeds. We're going to rip them out this next week. The thing about that is if you don't rip out the weeds, you can't even see the soul path. You cannot see where the soul path is, and you cannot enter the door if you don't even know where the path is to get to the door. And it's just ironic to me because I have like the tattoo of my a key on my hand, and it all made sense to me when I designed this layout. And I was like, we are the key. We are the key to our own success. We are the key. We have all this, like, but we're just so clogged with all the bullshit and all the weeds, and we can't even see the garden because the garden's full of weeds, and the weeds is not our weeds. So we have to rip them out. I'm gonna go over here to show you guys on the chakra side. I made this part of it just to show you how I visualized it with words and the chakra science. So the first chakra ascension would be the root, your momentum. You need some momentum to get in through that first door. You need to clear the path. You need to rip the weeds out. And if you've ever, I'm going to recommend this book, The 4 Agreements. I tell everyone to read this book. There's 4 agreements you make before you can enter that door. And you make these agreements with your higher power, with your source, God, whatever you call it. And I'm going to run through these really quick, but I really encourage you guys to use this book because this book is like, just clicks. It makes everything click. But the first agreement you make is to be impeccable with your word. And what that means is your words are magic. So if you speak ill words, you speak a black magic. You're speaking spells on people. You are telling lies. So whatever comes out of your mouth, even if it's, God, I feel like a piece of shit. Like I'll go on my story sometimes and say, God, I'm an idiot. And that is literally me verbalizing to myself so that I can catch it and I can retrieve it, because I know that it's gonna blossom into a weed and it's gonna cover my door. So you have to be mindful of those negative things that you can say about yourself, because if the first agreement, your word is impeccable, and if you're saying ill things about yourself, that's why we talk about gratitude. Look in the mirror, tell yourself I love you, drink your water, and have some gratitude in every single sip and every single swallow that you have. The second agreement is don't take things personally. If you take things personally, you won't ever arrive to the door because you will have missed every opportunity to see it. You will have missed the ride. You will have missed whatever, the call. And the third one is don't make assumptions. Don't assume that someone's going to leave the door open for you. Don't assume someone's going to weed your garden. Don't assume that someone's going to plant you some flowers. And the fourth one is to do your best. So that one is the best to cap it off with, because when I run through the agreements and at the end of the day, and I know I did my best, there's no stress on my back. I did my best. I followed the agreements. I was impeccable with my word. I didn't take shit personally. I didn't assume anything, and I did my best. What is there to do? So then my path is right there in front of me, and then I have the chance to open the door. So I like to use the spiral scale for this correlation. If you see, it looks like a ladder, and the spiral scale is also kind of like a ladder. You can climb up, you can fall down, you can climb back up a couple, you can climb back down. So where you're at emotionally, when I ask you guys and I say start where you're at, it really does matter, because let's say you're like coming up and you're almost to door number 2, and someone comes in with some bad vibes and drama and emotion or whatever, it'll knock you back down to door 1. And if you think in chakra sense, that's your root. So then you got to that day focus on root work, you know, do some twerking, do some meditation, whatever is in that chakra. If you're up here in chakra for number 4 and someone knocks you down to 3, you know, you got to do some work. You got to do some solar work. So I think it's really important knowing, and especially tracking to daily where you're at, because the goal obviously is to ascend the ladder, and you have all these obstacles and all these blocks. And I want to work through them with you guys. So when you ascend through the first door, which is like your will, you open that door, you do the work to get through the first door and ascend to the second. That's when you get your gut instinct. That's when you know, when you know your inner knowing. You know when someone is talking about you, you know, you feel certain things, your ears are ringing, and like different things, instincts are starting to happen to you. It's because you're starting to ascend, and things are starting to get activated. So once you pass through the second door, you would go to the third, which is your solar plexus, which is more of like your soul purpose, your creations, your desires, things that you love to do. So if you think about it and you're like not motivated to do things, you're living in the third door, but you're actually down here. You have no momentum, you have no anything, but your body is existing in the creation and existing, but you got to go inward, do the work, and slowly climb up to where you think you are. Like, no, don't start where you're at, not where you think you should be, start where you're at. And then right here is the creative motivation block. So I'm going to go over here to this one. And I created 2 because it was just so much information that I didn't know how to explain it to you guys. But right here, the third door is like shaped like butterfly, because that's when you feel the butterflies about things. That's when you feel like, oh, this is fun. Oh, this is creative. That's your creative flows. So if you have a block in between your heart, so that's why I put a lot of hearts around the 4th. That's your heart chakra. If you have this block in between, this in the chakra energy world, this is called a half step. In everyone's healing journey, there is a half step, which is kind of like, they call it a back door into your trauma, a back door into healing and getting over whatever it is. So in the chakra energy world, when you have all your creative desires in your gut, but nothing is happening, it's because you have a block, and it could just be a trauma. So the point being is that you have to work through that block, whatever that is, and that's doing the soul work, that's doing the weeding and the gardening, and then you ascend through to your 4th chakra. And your 4th would be love and direction, your heart chakra. There's this quote, it's your compassion is your compass. And it's like one of my favorite quotes. It's been my like mantra for this year. Compassion is my compass. I do everything with compassion. I try to lead anything that I do. I'm just like, ever since I saw this visual, I just saw how far up compassion was in the Ascension. And I thought, if I'm doing anything from an ill will, then I'm not going to succeed. I'm not going to see the polarity in it. And that's why it's a yin yang, because it really is the polarity in how you speak your voice, which is the next door. The 5th door would be your throat chakra. So if you can't see the polarities and the 2 sides to everything, you will never be able to speak your voice, because all you see is your opinion. The only thing that ever comes out of your mouth is your desires, your wants. All your butterflies are coming out, and there's no co-creation because you're blocked. You have some polarity. So it's one of those things, you got to go all the way back down. You got to start at your root work, name it, name every chakra. And on this visual, you can see that the second your instincts and your emotions, where your belly button is, it's also your like your sex, what do you call it? Like where you would express your sexual emotions. If all of the, like this reminds me of like when you say like, oh, when you're dating in the dating days, they gave me butterflies. If someone gave you butterflies, the way those butterflies would come out in those days, you know, would be sexually, it would be out through the door of the sexual organ. So what we're learning now through energy is that if you can like retain, or you can like hold yourself back from those sexual desires, you can transmute that energy into transmutable energy that can be used for your own free will. So that's why I have this visual of these energy block, like this energy coming out, and your aura, which protects you, it's all around you. It really goes back to your instincts. So if you're putting out, you know, sexual energy or whatever, you're absorbing that back in. If you're putting out creative energy, you're going to get that back. So it's just making sure that all the doors are open and they're all aligned. But if, you know, door 2 and 3 are open and door 1 is shut, you need to go all the way back down, and you need to find out why door 1 is not open. When you climb up to the polarity and you really learn about acceptance, accepting where you were at, accepting what happened to you, accepting that there's purpose in your pain, then you can have the polarity to start to use your throat chakra, which is the 5th one. And speaking your voice is not only out of your mouth, it's literally a full body thing. When you do a 5th chakra, like a throat chakra activation, I feel like it really just like it activates everything, because once your voice is open, you cannot be quiet. You can't be quiet after that. Your freedom is at stake. So the 3rd eye is the 6th door, and that one I put for the visual out of the back of your head to remind you guys that you don't only see through your 2 eyeballs that you have. You have this all-seeing eye that literally spins around you constantly and is watching out for you, is watching out for your back. And we also have another energy block. So this is where I feel like a lot of people are. They're either at the creative block, or they're at, this one's the creative block. The motivation block is in your stomach, and then the creative block is in your brain. So there's this in between where a lot of us have done the work. We've been doing all year long, you know, we've been doing a lot of self-healing and stuff. And then mentally, we're just like in this space of like, I just can't ascend. I just can't, there's something keeping me from source, or from achieving, or from success, or whatever your view is of it. And a lot of that, it can be this creative block, which the creative block can be a source of your purpose. It can be, maybe you're not tapping into something. It could be, maybe you have too much like metals in your body and they're all stuck in your brain and you need to do a detox. Maybe you're not eating right. Like there can be so many creative blocks that have literally nothing to do with creativity. It just has to do with where you're at and looking at your chakras and seeing too. And I didn't mention that with the motivation block. That's a great time too to look at what you're eating. That's in your gut area. I would eat a lot of foods for the chakras that you're trying to help. So that's when you go to Google and you literally type in solar plexus foods, sacral chakra foods, root chakra foods, and you do stuff like that, because in that moment, on that day, in that time, when you know and you do that check, the ladder check, you'll know what you need. And for me, you know, a couple weeks ago, I went to LA and I was like, fuck, I need blueberries. I fucking need blueberries. And Shayna fucking, well, I don't know if she telepathically heard me, had fucking blueberries. And literally on that day, it was like, it helped me. But my internal compass was like, you know, taking inventory. So that's when you go back to a lot of the week 1 exercises that we did, the gratitude mindset, the emotional inventory, and the spiral scale, and just on a daily basis, just checking in with yourself and seeing like, what are your goals? I feel like everyone wants to ascend. Like we want to all be to, can't see, oh, there it is. So right here, it says soul purpose. When you ascend through your 7th, because there's 8th chakra, goes all the way up, 12 and up. So if we are wanting to get to the 8th through our soul purpose, that's when we're just a vibe. You're just a vibe. You're constant, and everyone's just like, oh, like so-and-so's a vibe, or they're, that's just because you are doing the work, the inner work every day, and you're checking all the boxes, doing it. For me, it's like, take a shower, smoke a bowl, wash my face, make sure my kids, like if my kids are good, you know, so-and-so's good, this and that. And then I feel like my aura just like lights up. So, there's a lot of things you can do on a daily basis. If you see at the bottom, it says male energy and female energy, and there's like the different spiral scales, or spirals going in different directions. It's important to do both, because if you think about soul flame or twin flame, there's two flames and they're intertwined. So they're wrapped around each other. And if we are being, you know, and we're trying to be our highest self, we need to be both. We need to be our masculine and our feminine. So what I just tell people to do is, like, so this is just what I do. I take a shower and I put on music that helps me, like, I don't know, get into my soul, and twerk and my, like, that feminine part of myself. And I will just move my body, and I'm just dancing. I'm literally just dancing, but my body is going in those motions of, you know, and it's not any calculated like yoga. Okay, guys, 5 swirls to the left, 3 swirls to the right. And it's not any like counting of anything. It's just being in the moment, the vibration of the music, accepting where, you know, where it's at, making sure you're listening to good music, and just vibing with it, and then moving your body. And through that, you move, the energy just goes up, and you're just doing it by existing and by being in the moment. But if you go in your head and you start like, oh, that wasn't sexy, or oh, that I probably looked weird, or this, like, you have to stop with all of that. And you have to literally intuitively, like, you can even do blindfold dancing. Like, I've never tried this, but it looks pretty cool. People put on a blindfold and they'll just fucking dance. Like, I'm sure you have to like make sure the room's clear, but you know, they just intuitively are vibing to the music, and they're not judging themselves, and they'll record themselves so they can watch back and be like, wow, my body can do that, my body can move like that. And like, and they see, and I went through an experience like this. I didn't go through that, but in therapy, when I had my spinal fusion, because I like how you see the stairs or the ladder, I imagine that like my spinal fusion. Like, I was just like a rod and I couldn't move. I felt like this, like my whole body had to move. So when I was doing therapy and just being able to like do this, it took me 3 months to learn how to do that. Like, I literally was doing this for 3 months. I was doing this. And then when I started, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I got out of the box, and I was just like, okay, this is what healing is. And like, and it didn't matter that I still have these rods and all these screws and everything in my body. I felt it. I literally like feel it. And it's a vibe. So it's like the constant, and asking yourself too, because a lot of people, they're living off of other people's vibes. They're, you know, they're just way overwhelmed, and the door, they didn't even go through the first ascension door. They just fucking barreled through it, and they're just in there, and they're just like stuck and whatever. So that's when, you know, you need your crew, you need I say your top 5 or your top 1, at least one person you connect with, top 5 that, you know, you can reach out to, and just connect, and just, you know, just let people know where you're at on the spiral scale. Let them know even that you're working on yourself. You know, I'm going through some shit. I always say shit grows. So don't focus on the shit grows. So when you feel shitty, just send a friend a message. Fuck, I feel like shit today. I'm going through some shit. And that word, it just kind of sits with people, and they're like, okay. And then they're not that you're like shitting. This is another thing too. I say, don't shit in people's mouth. Do not hit someone up and be like, oh my God, I'm having the worst day. Did you hear that this happened on the news, and my phone bill's late, and my fucking this and that? Don't shit in somebody's mouth. Do not call them, but you can put out a little red flag and be like, hey, SOS, like, feeling shitty over here, you know, I might need some help, and like text someone, and they have free will to respond. That's why I say pick 5 people, even if they don't even know what you're doing and what the inner healing that you're working on. Just knowing, your inner knowing, that you have someone to catch you when you're falling, because falling is scary, and it's scary, bottom line. So when you feel like you're falling, you have some of those people to catch you. So that's basically this layout. And I hope I explained, that was my first time ever explaining it, but Hope I explained it well. I'm going to put a button down here. Eventually I'll get to the point where the button is already there for you guys. I'll put a button there for you guys to go in the group chat and just kind of connect, and I'll put an assignment for each chakra that I'd like you guys to work on for this next 3 weeks. So this is where we're going to be like literally ripping out the weeds and then identifying all of that. And of course, don't forget the spiritual baggage check is here. This one is like the group one. Everyone can check in together. This one comes directly to me if you wanted something private and you don't want to check in with anyone. And then also here, this sidebar is new on here, and it tells you the latest people who have been checking in. So if you don't want to navigate, you know, go into the group chat and kind of click around and stuff. If you don't want to do all of that and you just want like a general, you know, like to see like so-and-so checked in. And if you know this person on Instagram, you know, go say hi, go see how they're doing. Go let them know I see you. And it's the same for you guys. People will do that for you. And the more we use this, the more support it'll bring for everybody. So I want to thank you guys for coming, and I want to thank you guys all for holding space for each other. And I will see you guys all in this next session in week 2, session 2.